Welcome into another Athletic Director update from Chris Massaro, the Director of Athletics at Middle Tennessee. And Chris, it's good that we have the opportunity to get together now with the new digs here every couple of months and kind of go one-on-one and update folks with some things that are happening.
Yeah, and this is great. This is a converted men's tennis locker room, and we're able to do a lot of podcasts here with our student athletes, with you and I and other things. And as we evolve in the next decade, I mean, this is becoming more and more important. So this is a great facility. We've got one just like it that's going to open up at the Student Athlete Performance Center. But the more we communicate to our fans and have our student athletes reach out to our fans, the better off we're going to be in the long run.
You know, one of the things we're going to be talking about today is how when one domino falls, it allows something else to happen. And you know, when the tennis facility was completed, this room became available. This studio then is set up. And like you said, that's going to, over the next couple of years, we're going to see a lot of that happening.
Yeah, and it's been great. And this room has been busy. I mean, the coaches use it for recruiting and some of their photo shoots, like we talked about the podcast. The domino from the tennis, outdoor tennis center to be in here, and then obviously when we open up the Student Athlete Performance Center, that's going to open up all the football facilities that currently exist in the Murphy Center, so we can repurpose them, so we can do a lot of things in the next 2-3 years that we haven't been able to do due to capacity.
Hold your thought on the SAPC. We'll dive a little deeper into that in just a moment. But one of the really nice headlines that came out about you not too long ago was that you've been selected to be part of the college football selection committee. So that's going to be, you and I've talked a little bit about this, but that's not just like showing up one weekend and say, hey, let's put these folks in.
Yeah, let's eeny, meeny, miny, moe it. You know, it's a big thrill for me, and I'm extremely honored to be on that. It's just to be part of such one of the biggest sporting events in America and to be a central role. It's going to be great. There's 13 of us on the committee. There's representation from Group of 5. There's Power 4 representation. There's representation from former players that are NFL guys, from media members. So they've tried to really take a cross-section of people to do the evaluations of the team. So I'm just really honored to be part of that group, Chip. Maybe a little bit, be careful what you ask for, because there will be some controversy, I'm sure, and I'm sure I'll get more emails that might question why we chose this or chose that. But it's in the long run, it's going to be great. And my goal is for me to have to leave the room when we talk about Middle Tennessee. So that's the greatest thing, is let me sequester ourselves as we position ourselves, Middle Tennessee, to be that team in the Group of 5 that makes the playoffs. So it's going to be great. I'm thrilled. I'm looking forward to it. Our first meetings are May in Chicago, and then the real depth of it becomes in the fall, from November to December on Selection Day. Every weekend, every Sunday, we'll be flying to Dallas to meet with and rank the teams, to meet with the committee, and come out with our rankings. And I think the chair announces those on like Tuesday night on ESPN, while the rest of the committee is probably flying home that Tuesday evening.
Yeah, well, and you know, it's kind of one of those things too, like, you know, how much can you all talk about it and, you know, and argue about it during the day on Monday when you meet after a weekend of college football?
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see, and you know, how the conversations change from week to week, you know, depending on the results, obviously. And this team is currently rising, and this team maybe had a tough weekend, and how you evaluate all that, and I think there will be. Typically, I've been in those committees before, and you know, with 13 people, there's always different ways to look at it, you know, and some people might think that head-to-head's more important. Other people might think the overall strength of schedule is most important. So all those factors that get kind of melded in at the end, it's going to be an interesting process. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait. I think it's a huge honor, and I think it's a huge honor for Middle Tennessee too. And I couldn't do this because it's such a time commitment if I didn't have a great staff. you know, and so they'll be able to carry on, and hopefully the department will run even better, Chip, when I'm gone in Dallas playing with the college football rankings.
Well, you know, I think you're right. I think it is a source of pride, should be for our league and for the university, for you to be on that committee. And it's not your first rodeo. You've been on selection committees before, and Middle Tennessee has a long history of having individuals on selection committees. I mean, going back to Lee Fowler, Diane Turnham's been on 3 different ones.
No, I think it's more than that.
Is it
now.
more than that now?
Yeah, I think
and Dean Hayes, you know, is all kinds of stuff. So there's a long history of that here.
Yeah, and Diane was actually chair of the women's basketball committee, and she had the unfortunate piece of history is that her role as chair was the COVID year when the NCAA had to pull the plug on the tournament. So we never really got to see Diane in the media and talking about the selections on the women's basketball and presenting the trophy at the end of the year and those kind of things. So I've always felt badly for her because that was just horrible timing, because that's sort of the zenith for you to be the chairman and to be able to reap those kind of rewards, because she did all the work without the rewards of the tournament.
Well, Diane, as you know, loves to find the silver lining in anything. And she does say that she is the only chairman who has never been criticized
Right.
for her selections into the women's tournament in 2020. So that is going on. All right, basketball season just came to a close. Both men and women both had very successful years. Both made it into the postseason. And we'll kind of start it off, though, with a little piece of news you have.
Yeah, that we're happy, and I think there's a email that went out to our season ticket holders and BRAA members, but we've signed Nick McDevitt to a 3-year contract extension. So we're excited for that. That we believed in Nick last year. We sent a letter out that just said that we believe in kind of the plan he has and his staff, and it really came to fruition this year that we didn't make the NCAA tournament, and that's always our goal, Chip. And you were there, you saw every game, but it was just light years of improvement. The league was so much better this year than it's been in the past. It was a really difficult league. And for us, the 5th time in school history to finish, to be in the NIT. And that was a great thing for us as well. So we had a good season. We didn't hit the NCAA tournament, which is something we desperately want to do.
It's always the goal.
It's always the goal. And, you know, we came within a free throw here or there in the semifinal of the conference tournament of being there, being that team. But, you know, it doesn't diminish the whole season and how good we were. So I'm excited. I think that Nick and his staff have done a really good job. They fit Murfreesboro. They fit MTSU. It's obviously an important spring for us, as it is for every basketball program, as we dabble into the transfer portal and the junior college recruiting and all of those kind of things. But we're so excited to have Nick another 3 years and just to watch this program continue to grow.
And both he and Coach Insel have, you know, they've done a good job figuring out how to maneuver. This new world, or they are figuring it out because it never stays stable. But you know, Coach Insel this year is going to be in a position to where he has a lot of faces to replace. Nick and them have had to do the same thing, and you like to take the template that they used last year to find and they really did a great job finding the right pieces.
They have, and just the women's program's been remarkable over Coach Ensel's 20-year run. I mean, we've never not had a bye at the conference tournament. We've never not made postseason. We shared a conference title this year with Liberty. Yes, we didn't make the NCAA tournament, and that's a bit of a disappointment. But this group of players, this group of seniors, won a ton of basketball games, and so just so proud of our women's basketball program. In a lot of ways, they're our guiding light of our whole athletic department and what they do. So I have no doubt that the newcomers that they're bringing in are going to be exceptional. We're all going to fall in love with them like we have this past group that's come through and won a lot of ball games for us. And Coach Insel will have them ready. He and his staff have been here a long time. They know exactly what they're doing, and I've got complete faith in what they'll be doing and putting that team together for next year.
Yeah, and both staffs right now, in addition to managing their rosters, are also working on non-conference scheduling and all of that. So
there's a lot going on, and when you talk about non-conference scheduling, Chip, the key game for us next year is we'll be playing the University of Tennessee.
Lady Vols will be here.
Right here in the Murphy Center. So we're excited about that. Obviously, that gives us a chance to increase our season ticket sales. It obviously gives us a chance to sell out Murphy Center. So as soon as we announce that date, mark it on your calendars and let's go. Let's fill that thing with blue and make it really rough on them when they come into the Murphy Center.
Yep, that'll be a lot of fun. And you know, basketball schedules, it'll be later on down the road, but I'm sure once you get a date solidified on that game,
yeah, you'll
put that out.
Yeah, and it's been a great series. And
yep.
Kelly Harper's was the coach at Tennessee when it was put together, but basically one game in Huntsville, which we won. Then we returned it to Knoxville last year, which they won. They come back to Murphy Center this year. So we hope we can keep that pattern going. Mm-hmm. And then we go to Knoxville for the final game of that series. So it's been a great series for us. I think it's been a really good series for them as well. So we would like to find a way to extend that as well.
Yeah, and those series are not easy to come by.
No, they're not. I mean, the Power Four do not have a lot of incentive.
On both sides, men and women.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of incentive to leave their friendly confines of their arena. So I salute them for doing this series. I salute them for playing the games and those kind of things because it helps basketball all across our state, and it helps grow, particularly on the women's side, grow that women's game.
All right, let's change gears a little bit and go into a construction update. Student Athlete Performance Center. I mean, every time I park out in the Greenland Drive parking lot and walk in the building, I'll look up and there's something different, and that has just continued for the last 12 months or so. Kind of give us a timeline as we see the building right now, as it's going to be coming along, and when will football in particular start to be able to move in?
Yeah, and I was excited, Chip, that I guess it was about 2 weeks ago, the construction trailers have all left the premise. So that's always a good sign, and eventually they'll have to start cleaning up that area, and so the landscaping and those kind of things are going to take place. Let's fast forward a little bit. We've got a tentative date for our ribbon cutting, and that's going to be on July 30th. And so it's going to be a great day for us. That fits our timing perfectly right now. The construction, knock on wood, is on schedule, and to be able to meet that date, to us, it was important to be able to occupy that building for training camp and for the start of school for our volleyball and soccer programs, because we want that weight room to be fully operational. We want that training room to be fully operational. All those things that help all of our student athletes when they get ready for their fall camps, that building will be ready and operating. And we're excited about that because I think that's going to be a key for us in how we develop our student athletes. We talked a little bit about the NIL era and the transfer portals, but still one of the basic things is can you bring somebody in and can they get better while they're at your campus? And so you do that with great coaching, you do that with great facilities, and this will really help us with this great facility.
Well, in not only that building, because I'll ask you this, because I know you walk through it probably once a week at some point, showing it off or whatever. What has been the wow factor for you when you've walked into that building to this point?
I think for me right now, when I walk in, is the Kevin Byard Strength and Conditioning Room, our weight room. Just the size of it, and then the natural light with all the windows around it. So those of you that are somewhat familiar with our building, that's the glass that faces the Kenham Sports Hall of Fame building. So that's the big glass box that faces that. And it's 4 or 5 times the size of our old weight room.
Wow.
So
and it was pretty good size.
Yeah, it was, and it served us well for its time, but we'd outgrown it as well. So that's my wow factor. I think too that the SRM Concrete Club on the 3rd floor, I love going out there and looking out those windows at the view back at the football field. I think that's going to be an incredible place to watch a football game from. You're weather protected, so if we have lightning delays or if it's chilly weather, you're going to be right there in that club level. So we're putting out releases now, or we've begun sales of it. But those are the two kind of wow factors. One on the bottom floor looking towards the Kennan building, and that 3rd floor looking out towards the football stadium. Yeah. It's going to be fantastic.
Well, and if you are in the SRM club this year, you will be looking out at a brand new turf on the field. What is the timeline as far as the old turf coming up and work on the new turf putting in?
That work's going to really start in late April.
Oh, wow.
So
as soon as spring ball's over.
It's about a week and a half, 2 weeks after spring ball's over, and we're right on top of it. So they'll come in and rip out the old turf, and then it's about a month installation on the new turf. So we're hoping by conservatively maybe the middle of June that we're going to have the turf will be fully ready to go. So we're going to have a brand new building, brand new turf. The scoreboard's a year old, so we've done a lot to the football stadium in the past year and a half.
Now, if I'm correct, I think this turf is 11 years old, somewhere right in that ballpark. Right. And in every time we've put in a new turf, the new one has had some sort of technological development that has made it far superior to what was just taken out. So is that the same with this one going in?
Yeah, and I think the one of the technological advancements is that now you're able to screen totally what you want on your field. In the past, like your midfield logo, they had to manufacture that separately, then sew it in, and those kind of things. Now they're just able to do it off their machineries and just roll it right on out with the rest of the turf. So there won't be as many seams.
So the graphics can be a little more detailed.
Yeah, they can.
Okay.
They can, and that's going to be a nice thing. You're going to see more of a sand mix than some of the rubber. So I think the cooliness, it's not going to be as hot for the players out there on some of those afternoon practices or games and those kind of things. But I think what the fans will really notice is the sharpness of the graphics.
So with that and all of the new features with, the sound system, the new video board last year, the new building in the north end zone, perfect time to get season tickets if you've not had them before. If you've had them before, and time to come give it a test one more time.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. And we had the #1 recruiting class in Conference USA. So this football staff's worked very hard on kind of retooling our team from a year ago. Play Marshall is probably our biggest non-conference game at home. We also have, I think it's Austin Peay's coming to town. Mm-hmm. So those two are the non-conference games. So those are two attractive opponents, two opponents that we've had a lot of history with, and I think that our fans can relate to.
Well, and I think the schedule, the way it falls this year, is very attractive for fans because you're going to have I think you're going to have two Wednesday night games, and then you'll have a couple in November, but you will not have a home game on Thanksgiving weekend to deal with. So the way I think overall it's a really good football schedule.
Yeah, and I like from a football standpoint that when we play those midweek games in October, and we've got 2 on the road, 2 at home, but every one of those games is on Wednesday night. So for Coach Mason and his staff to set the schedule so the players can get in a routine and those kind of things, I think it'll be much easier for them this year. Last year, sometimes we had we play on Thursday, then on a Tuesday, and so you have this abbreviated time period, and then you might have 10 days off after that for another game. And so it just got a little bit disjointed in October. This year, we're able to play every Wednesday night. So I think that's going to be great for us. And it's a great message for the fans. Like, Wednesday night, we have a football game. Doesn't matter if it's home or away. We want you to watch it. We want you to come to the home games. And if you can't come to that or to away games, it's going to be on ESPN Plus or CBS Sports Network or on ESPN Linear.
Yeah.
So come watch us.
I think folks would like to know what the midweek games have meant to viewership of our conference games.
Yeah, and basically, Chip, when you look at the numbers that from the linear broadcasts, basically the ratings double and triple when we're playing on the weeknight games. And that's very significant. It's significant for our Conference USA brand. It's significant for the MTSU brand. It gives you a chance to put your product in front of potential recruits, all those kind of things. So those things have been really successful. There's a give and take with anything, and I get the argument that people would rather play on Saturday. It's easier to get to and those kind of things. But there are benefits for us playing on Wednesday, and I think that outweighs maybe the Saturday all the time. The other thing it does, from our point of view, is it gives us clean air. That we're the only game going on. The Tennessee or Vanderbilt or some of the local SEC games, they're not playing on Wednesday night. They're playing on Saturday. So if you want to go to Knoxville and watch the Vols in October, you can. But you can also come here and watch us play on Wednesdays. And we have a lot of fans that are fans of both. So that's our challenge, is to try to create an atmosphere on those Wednesday nights to bring that kind of casual fan back to Floyd Stadium.
Yep, and I'll go on record as saying that since this all started, I'd much rather play midweek games in Conference USA cities in October than midweek games in MAC cities in November.
Yeah.
Because you've got a good chance of getting decent weather in October in our league cities.
You do, and I think that's a big factor. And then you can play with your game times in November then, and I think last year we set our game times to be mid-afternoon, so the sun's out and those kind of things, so it's more comfortable for our fans and players. So you're exactly right that the October fits itself well for those night games on weekday nights. And the other thing is our TV ratings go up, and I did not mention our student attendance basically doubles for those games as well. That it's so much more convenient for our students to come to weeknight games than it is to weekend games. And that holds true in football, and it holds true in basketball as well.
Yep, sure does. If you need your football fix, this weekend will be a good time to do it. The spring football showcase, because we had Derek Mason on here, a month ago, probably right before spring ball started. And he talked about it then, that across the country, and we're hearing it, school after school, the old school spring games are going away for a myriad of different reasons. But this weekend, it will be a spring showcase. And the big thing is it allows the coaching staff to have 15 full practices. Because if you play a game, you're using one of those practices for a game, and you're probably having to use one more to do a walkthrough for the game. But it allows them to maximize their practice time in the spring.
It does. There's a lot of reasons that Coach Mason was excited about trying this showcase route. And the other thing is that try to mic him up so there could be more of a connection to him and the fans that come and those kind of things, so he can explain a little bit what might be happening. There can be interviews as practice is going on and those kind of things. So it's be a little bit less formal than the games, but I think the idea is for the football staff is to connect more with the fans that come. So I think you'll see a deeper connection. We're having a autograph session before the showcase so the kids can get all their autographs and those kind of things. So it's going to be a really nice Saturday, Chip, and then take in the spring game, and we've got softball and baseball going on at the same time. So it's just a nice day to come to campus and celebrate being a Blue Raider.
Well, it is, and not only athletics, but the entire university. It is spring showcase
Yes.
week going on. So it will be, like you said, a great day just to come on campus. One of the things that is really hard for fans to wrap their head around, and I include myself in this, is we hear, okay, the House settlement. Well, what does that mean, and what does it mean to Conference USA? What does it mean to Middle Tennessee? I hear the phrase, oh, so-and-so, this school, XYZ, has opted in to the House settlement. Kind of explain in layman's terms what we're talking about and what the impact is going to be, in your opinion, on college athletics in general, Conference USA, and then really focus it down on Middle Tennessee.
Well, that's an entire podcast.
That's right.
So we can edit this thing.
The Reader's Digest version
Yeah,
would be.
yeah. First of all, it is a significant change, and if you're a little bit confused about it, join the club, because everybody's confused about it, from Greg Sankey to Charlie Baker to Chris Massaro, just predicting kind of the impact of it, because it's such a massive overhaul of what we do. And just simply what it allows to do is, if you opt into this, it means you're agreeing to the proposed settlement. And we as a university have opted in. And so what that allows you to do is to be able to basically, for lack of better words, it's either revenue share or internal NIL is what is the phrases you see tossed around. In a lot of ways, that they're very much the same. They're very similar phrases. So if we do an internal NIL, that means the university can pay the student athletes directly, which is a major change that what we've had in the past 3-4 years. In the past 3-4 years, the collective had to pay the players. Now you can take it inside, and it can be part of your scholarship, and you can do all these kind of things. So they're capping that like at $24 million. And so that part gets capped. So in theory, you can't go above that, which we're at Middle Tennessee, we're in no danger of that.
Right.
But I think that's an important marker for people to realize that then how will those SEC and the Power 4 schools, how will they distribute that money? They've got the $20+ million to distribute. What percent goes to football? What percent goes to men's basketball? What percent goes to women's basketball? And if you're at another place, what percent goes to all your other sports? Mm-hmm. You know, at Minnesota, you might have hockey might be your biggest sport. At LSU, it might be baseball or women's gymnastics. Yeah. So every school has their different little areas of prominence, and so each school's got to decide on their own kind of how they want to distribute that. So there's a lot of jockeying going inside of athletic departments on how that's going to be done. What you see right now with the basketball recruiting is that teams without football seem to have a little bit of advantage. And so they're loading up and paying their men's and women's basketball players a lot more than maybe some of the Power 4 schools are doing. And so that's a significant change. And I don't think that the Big Ten schools are going to be outbid by the Big East or Atlantic 10 or West Coast Conference schools. So I think that people will still hang on to their NIL deals and those kind of things. So that's all part of it. And that's the biggest unknown, is where this marketplace is going to take us in terms of paying players. That, you know, you're reading that the top end, the people competing for the national championships in men's basketball, that pool of money for men's basketball is being anywhere from $8 to $12 million, depending on what you read. And so when you distribute that out between 13 basketball players, that's a lot of money per player. Mm-hmm. And obviously they're going to front end, you know, the player of the year or the all-conference type players, and then just kind of have some well-paid insurance at the end of the bench. And so there's a trickle down that's impacted all of us. And so we're seeing the price of the acquisition of talent, particularly that already exists at schools, that NIL or that share has gone way up in basketball. And they're just happen to be a little bit ahead of the football recruiting cycle, because we'll see the same thing next fall in football. And so what that does is maybe open up more high school and junior college type recruiting. So it's impacted everything. It's impacted how you're going to acquire your talent, the price to acquire the talent. You still sort of have the same number of players out there, but you just got to figure out how they fit into your university the best. The other thing that you read a lot about are squad limits. That was the other part of the
that was on my list
House
here.
settlement. So some sports like are impacted in a different way. Like, for instance, baseball was always governed that you could only have 11.7 scholarships, and that was all you could have. And you could have a squad of 30 people or whatever, but they had to all share those 11 scholarships. Now with the NIL, you can have, in the House settlement, you can have 34 scholarships in baseball. That's the max. And that's also your squad limit. You can only have 34. You can't have 35. And so what you're seeing is people trying to figure out what's our best scholarship number. Is it 34 for baseball? Is it 24? And if we play 24, really, do we pay 24 guys handsomely well, or do we spread it out over 34? And so I think what you'll see is this little hunt and peck type approach as people are trying to test the system and to see what works best for them. And that's what we need to be unafraid to do, is if we're committed to giving this many scholarships, let's just for argument's sake say we want to take baseball up to 18 or 20. And we try to spread that out evenly, and then maybe we decide a year later that maybe we should have 15 scholarships and just pay these guys so much more. So you got 15 highly paid guys, and then you just fill in the rest of your roster of guys that maybe are more development type players. So I think each coach, each university has to decide kind of what's best for them. And that's what you're seeing a lot in the media right now are people discussing those kind of things and how it impacts them and those particular sports. There are some sports that football, your squad limit's at 105. We've been carrying about 120 people with walk-ons and those kind of things on 85 scholarships. But we've had more than 105, so we've had to kind of pare our roster down to be at that 105. So you're hearing from football coaches that maybe they don't like that process and those kind of things to get to the 105. They feel like it does away with some walk-ons. You can give 105 scholarships or you can give 75 scholarships. You really don't have to give that amount. And so
there's 85 is no longer the hard number.
It's no longer the hard number.
Wow.
And so you have flexibility there. So is it better for a school that maybe has more of a challenge in resources? Like, are we better to give 80 scholarships or 75 scholarships and then take the money from those 10 scholarships that you save and front load it to the guys that play a lot? And so that's what we're trying to figure out with our coaching staff and really going through each sport, because every sport's different. Every marketplace is a little bit different. And we also have to recognize all this could change in another year. And the other thing that you're seeing is eligibility. Eligibility is getting challenged in the courts everywhere. And so there was one that was filed like yesterday, College of Charleston, that kids are saying, well, because my eligibility is out, I'm denied to make a six-figure income from NIL and those kind of things, and that's been unfair. And so right now there's been some cases where they've won that. Pavio at Vanderbilt was one of the ones that won it, and so that's freed up some junior college guys with extra eligibility. So we will continue to see those kind of challenges in the courts. And what we have to do at middle is to be cognizant of it and to be flexible enough to be able to adjust to it when the courts change all these kind of rules that we've been used to.
With all of that being said, for you sitting behind the director of athletics desk, one of your challenges is, okay, how can I maximize all of my revenue sources?
Yeah.
And because it's as important more important than ever to sell tickets.
Yeah, I think because all that goes into our big revenue bucket.
Right.
And so it is more important now because the price of competitive athletics is jumping. And if we want to be competitive, we've got to grow our revenue. And the best way to grow revenue is to grow your fans. And so that's the biggest issue we have, is how do we grow our revenue? And so, yeah, to help our season ticket base, to help our donor base, all those kind of things. But there's other things that we can do. We've got a concert series we're trying to put together for the Murphy Center. So that's going to be an important step for us. We've got a golf tournament this Thursday for an NIL. So what you're going to see is more event fundraising for schools like ours. What I want to be able to do is not hit Chip Walters every time and say, hey, Chip, we need you for the NIL. But say, hey, come out and play golf with us and support it that way. Or come to the concert at the Murphy Center and support it that way. So you get Chip, but you also get Chip's next door neighbor that might not be invested as much into MTSU. So we've got to broaden our fan base. We've got to make events here on our campus more exciting for people to come to. So that's why if you walk out on the Murphy Center floor right now, we've got a new sound system going in. We've got brand new scoreboards that are like 2 years old. So our game day experience at the Murphy Center, and we touched on it earlier at Floyd Stadium, the last 2 years we've invested a lot of money into that. And so with the hopes that in the future we can continue to draw and continue to grow, because athletics has gotten more expensive, but winning athletics has gotten way more expensive. And I don't think anybody around here wants to flatline it. We want to be at the top of our conference. We want to be in NCAA tournaments. We want to be all those things.
What are the top 2 or 3 things on your to-do list for the next 90 days, 100 days?
I think I just went through it.
Yeah.
Just finding ways to connect, finding ways for revenue, finishing the Student Athlete Performance Center, cutting its ribbon, getting everybody moved in and relocated and those kind of things, so that's as seamless as possible. But the biggest thing that we need to do as a department and as a fan base is to get behind this, that we need people out there. We need to convert the casual fan that maybe comes to a couple games. Go ahead and invest and be a season ticket holder. Go ahead and talk to your neighbors across the street, invite them to a game, because we just have to grow our revenues. And in Conference USA, we're all fighting the same kind of financial battle. So we're not behind anybody. We're not way ahead of anybody, but we're right there in that pack. And so this gives us a chance to separate and to really do well. And so that's the biggest thing, is how do we adjust?
How do we fully
navigate?
take advantage of our resources?
Yeah, and how do we navigate this new world? Because we can pine about how athletics used to be, but that's gone. I mean, it's gone. So how do we adjust to our new world, and how do we adjust our fan base? And so that's the next 90 days, and that's the next 190 days as well.
Yeah. As we record this and as it drops on April 8th, it marks your 20th anniversary here at Middle as the Director of Athletics, which you are currently the 5th longest tenured FBS AD in the country. And when Chet Gladchuk steps aside this summer, you will be number 4. also the retirement of Tom Holmoe at BYU. So kind of as we wrap up here, take a couple of minutes to reflect on what 20 years at this place has meant to you so far.
Well, it's meant the world, Chip. You know, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me professionally. And then you think about the relationships that you've been able to generate over a 20-year period, and your friends for life, and just watching this place grow, that I, raised my family here, 4 wonderful children, that Cindy and I love this community, been part of this community. It's just a great place to be. Made the conscious decision a number of years ago that we wanted to graduate our kids from the high schools here, and did not want to move them and those kind of things. And so it's been a wonderful ride. I feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world to be able to be here and to be here that long. So I'd like to thank Dr. McPhee for giving me that opportunity. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. But I think that there's 2 or 3 things that fans can always be assured of. Is number one, that I always give my all for this place. I put in the hours, I put in the work. I go to the games, I do all those kind of things. I feel like if a student athlete's out there with MTSU across their chest and I'm in town, I should be there supporting them. And you'll see me at all those events. Number 2, that I've never tried to use this position or anything for personal gain. Everything I've done is to move this department forward, not to make me better or try to position myself and those kind of things. So number 3, just to be as honest and have as much integrity as I can. And to me, that's how you build trust in people and those kind of things. And I've made 100,000 mistakes in those 20 years and those kind of things. And there's things that I wish I could do over. But you know what? In the long run, we've graduated our student athletes. We've held to our values. We've given honest days' work. We've got a great staff. We've hired great coaches that care about our kids, all those kind of things. So as I look back on my 20 years, in a lot of ways it feels like 2 years because I work with such great people. And I get to surround myself with great fans and those kind of things. So, I'm going to get a little misty-eyed when I look backwards. Mm-hmm. You had me looking forward with all the house settlements and all those kind of things. Yeah. But there's nobody I'd rather do that stuff with than what we have here at Middle Tennessee. And from Rick Insell to Derek Mason to Mark McIntyre to Jimmy Borendane, we've got just a great coaching staff that'll lead us through this. We've got, and we mentioned her, Diane Turnham, that's been here forever, and she exemplifies every value that MTSU has. We've got Lee DeLeon, who we brought in and made as a deputy AD, who's made a tremendous impact in our fundraising, and some of the buildings and projects that we're talking about would not be possible without some of Lee's efforts. So I'm a little bit of the Lou Gehrig. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. But I hope that I've contributed in my own way to this success, and it's been a pleasure. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about, an hour that goes by that I don't think about how we can make this place better and what's our next step. And so I hope people appreciate that and appreciate all the effort that it's taken, and mostly appreciate the efforts of our staff and coaches.
Yep. Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
On Anniversary Day.
Thank you.
And anything else that we're missing out that we should have covered today?
Man, you almost got me in tears, Chip.
Well,
so I don't want to. I think we're probably in good shape. We're excited that our spring sports are doing well. Like our men's tennis and men's and women's golf have all had a lot of success lately. So we're excited for all the spring championships that are coming up, and let's collect some more hardware.
Absolutely. Good job. Appreciate
Thanks.
it. We'll do this again in a couple of months, so
Yeah.
we'll be getting even closer to moving in the new building.
Let's cut that ribbon, baby.
That'll be nice. That'll be nice. So that's going to wrap it up for us today. For Director of Athletics Chris Massaro, I'm Chip Walters, and don't forget, be loud, be proud, and be